Hi, welcome to The Witch in the Woods, and I thought for this episode I would do a quick tour of my quartz crystal collection, and I would like to discuss some of the properties of quartz as we look at what I've got. I don't have magnificent out here showpieces. I do have a nice crystal geode. It's staying in the dark corner over there because of the lighting. I have nag champa burning, which I'm choking on. So if you see wafts of smoke, that's the nag champa. And I'm after a little bit of divine light in this beautiful, rare sunny day. So we're going to stare into the infinity of quartz as we discuss New Age lular. But is this lular? I mean, does quartz have a intelligent life form? Is it a silicon-based life form that we find difficult to understand, being a carbon-based life form? Something entirely different. Is this why we love crystals? These questions I will not answer, I will just pose. Answers below, please. But if we look into quartz, we can see that it very often it evolves from a cloudy base to a pure expression of clear light. Very often, in fact, if you look into that cloudy base, you may see whirling galaxies and little star formations, wisps of suns and the Milky Way and deep, deep space. You may also see rainbows and flashes of colour. So this is what we're working with when we're talking of light and we're talking of connection to infinity with quartz crystals. So as I am showing you this one now, this is my double terminated quartz, and this to me is a stone of balance. It not only sends up energy, but it brings down energy. It brings energy into this mortal and dense and somewhat messed up sphere, and it can also transmit our consciousness out into that infinite vast space and whatever mind and intelligence is up there. So double terminated quartz are great for connection. You can use them all sorts of ways, but if you're going to do a crystal healing layout on yourself, a double terminated quartz will bring energy between two chakras. It will make sure that it gets rid of any stagnation there. It increases flow and breaks up any sort of resistance between the upper world and the lower world. So in brief, this, in my mind, I do not know, I'm not a great expert, but this is the use of a double terminated quartz crystal, and this is a particularly lovely and large piece. Now if I could get that focused in the sunlight there, then you can see how beautiful this one is. And usually the faces move in opposite directions on some double terminated quartz. So one face is here, and on the opposite side this is the other face. So it's good for combining resisting forces, things that seem to be going in opposite directions. It can bring them into balance. Now this is my generator crystal, and a generator crystal, all quartz have 6 faces. A generating crystal has a perfect termination point that naturally occurs to bring all those 6 facets together into a single point. And what this does is it amplifies and transmits any energy that it is around. So anything you send into a generator crystal will be sent out. So you've got to be careful that you put it in an environmental that you are consciously sending positive energy, because it will amplify negative energy if you give it chance. So it's great for group crystal healings. It's good for being in the center of a crystal grid, and it's great for working to send out intention. This one is a natural smoky quartz crystal, and as you can see, a natural smoky quartz is just a dull grey, really. Now, we're quite often used to seeing these as smoky quartz, and this is a heat treated artificial smoky quartz. It has a very dense energy. It absorbs, they absorb negative energy, so they need cleansing a lot. So this does have a dense and heavy absorbing energy to it, but this is softer and gentler, and it's almost like this one transmutes that negative energy as it absorbs it from the atmosphere. So I like real smoky quartz, if you can get hold of it, is superior to the man-made kind variety. But whatever you use, you want to cleanse these quite often. Cleanse them in salty water, or run them under a tap, or put them in a stream for water to run over them. And the art of running water over crystal is to see the white lights surrounding that crystal and pushing out all the negative energy. But then what do you do with that energy? Well, you don't just let all that energy out to go wherever it will and foul up the next pond, you know. So always see that white light pushing out the negative energy, but as it runs further downstream, or as it runs down the plug hole, imagine that it's turning back into white light. And that's a good technique for cleansing a crystal under a tap. This is a twin crystal, and these are two crystals that share a base but have joined together as one piece. I've got a variety of these. They grow together. They're twin soulmates. When they come in this form, which is, one is slightly smaller and then one is slightly more dominant, these are good for general relationships. A man and a woman having a balanced, harmonious kind of good for healing relationship balance. Now you might think, oh no, the woman is small and minuscule compared to the might of this masculine side, but actually one is more passive, more nurturing, more absorbing, and one is more dynamic, one is more outgoing, one is more protective. And this one actually has just a slight inclusion of a third. There's a third in there. Just one face that's slightly raised. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. So this is not actually a true twin crystal. I see it's given birth to a third aspect, but it's a nice large piece so that I can demonstrate what I mean. This is actually a slightly truer piece, but you might have a hard time focusing on it, because this really is two crystals that are growing out of each other. And I like these small crystals. People go for their large showpiece, but God, the zing in smaller pieces, sometimes they're so pure and bright and intense. So Don't always overlook tiny crystals. They've got a lot of power. So this is a channeling crystal, and it has a 7-sided face at the front, and you can tell the front and the back of a crystal. Once you've examined them a while, you'll know which is the front and which is the back. A channeling crystal, having the 7-sided face at the front, is great for absorbing and receiving. And channeling crystals bring you channeling messages from higher beings. They're also good to sleep with under your pillow. If you've got any answers you want, any questions that you want answers about, a channeling crystal is a good crystal to use. The idea is that it brings in messages, wisdom, higher self knowledge from the outer consciousness into your small physical ego consciousness. So it brings in higher information. If I can find one. Nope. Variety of crystals here, bear with me. So I'm trying to find a transmitter crystal. And transmitter is the opposite. So this is one, it's not the best example. But a transmitter crystal has a triangle on the front face, surrounded by 2 sides of 7 facets each. And this does the opposite of the channeling crystal. This sends out information to the universe. So this is a good crystal to use to send out intent, send out messages, send out spells, wishes, and to communicate to other beings. And if you use them together, of course, then you can both transmit and receive. And this is called a Dow Crystal, which is there. Okay, so this is a Dow Crystal, and this has both a channeling side and a transmitting side, but it has a perfect balance of 7, 3, 7, oops, can drop it, 3, 7, and this links to what they call Christ consciousness. So a Dow crystal is an exceedingly valuable crystal. It raises your consciousness above the mundane world and brings to you a higher balance. It works as both a receiver and a transmitter, and it's great to work with for healing. So it brings balance to your consciousness and the free flow between the outer world, the outer universe, the higher wisdom, and your small human self. And I would work with this by sleeping with it under my pillow, or maybe making a crystal potion with it, which of course is just placing a crystal in sunlight in water for a few hours. So this is a Dow crystal. I'm going to move on quickly because I don't want this video to last forever and ever. So I'm just going to briefly mention a few properties. Now this is another twin crystal, but on this twin crystal, these are more equal points. They are both independently reaching for identity and independence. So this is a Tantric twin crystal, and you can work with it slightly differently. Now this one has a transmitter face on the masculine side, and the female side, if you can see that, is a tabby. It is a tabular crystal, which means that it's more oblong than pointed. If I can show you another example, you'll understand what I mean. There's one. So a tabular crystal is flatter, basically. It comes along with a flatter aspect. And what tabular crystals do is they connect to energies together. So this is quite an interesting tantric twin, because this is very receptive. This is working to bring balance to areas, and this is very dynamic, and this is sending out transmitted power. So this is bringing that kind of energy to relationships. So yeah, and tabular crystals, tabbies as they're affectionately known, these are good to work in crystal healing layouts, yet again to breach voids between chakras. If you want to connect your heart, your solar plexus to your heart chakra, but there's some kind of blockage, a tabular crystal placed in that area will help to breach that abyss between solar plexus, power issues, and higher dimensional heart and connection issues. So yet again, I talk a lot about using crystal healing layouts. If you've ever tried it, it's lovely. You should just lay down and lay crystals on you one day. And yeah, be aware of like whether you're sending energy up or down or both ways, out or in, and point the crystals whichever way you want. You may want to use pink quartz wands. You may want them to face into your heart, bring your healing in, or you may want to send healing out, in which case put the terminations spreading out, expanding that heart. So work intuitively with it, really. And as I say, I like these little crystals, and these are quite nice to use in energy healing on your body. Now I'm drawn to now I'm drawn to my amethyst. I wasn't really going to mention it, but of course amethyst is also a quartz, and this is a generator. It's a bit battered. This is a lovely amethyst point. Amethyst, of course, is great to use on the third eye and in the mind, and it eases your worries, anxieties. It brings peace and calm, and it connects you to your dreams and your intuition. So I will briefly mention that. At this point I will also mention clusters, and clusters amplify energy. This is a very small one. They amplify and bring higher energy into a stone, say. So you can charge crystals by laying them on clusters. You can amplify the energy in a room just by having a small quartz cluster. That's not focusing on the quartz. There we go. So this is a strange cluster. If you can see, it's got a strange kind of very cubic almost formation. Now this is an celestial, and this is my golden sheen celestial. And what celestials are, well, what they sound like, they connect to a being. They connect you with helpful beings. They come into your path when you need this being's help. And they're like a good friend. They bring healing. And they're very comforting to have around. So this is a golden sheen celestial, not a golden healer. But I feel that the energy of this one, intuitively I would say, the darkness makes me think this is clearing karma. This one's working on my karma so that I can clear karma. So I can come to face what I need to face, the lessons I need to face in this lifetime. I have two celestials. I have a clear quartz one as well. That is small. There you go. So this is a clear quartz celestial and it's a lot smaller. It's a little more difficult to see the facets on that one. But they have kind of cabochon faces. I like the word cabochon. So if you do find one of these, pick it up, because it is like a friend to you. It's offering itself to come and help you with this lifetime, this existence. Just, I mean, I can only point out that this is this, and I expect you to go away and do the homework, because I will be asking questions later. Only joking. Okay. Now this one is a window crystal. And a window crystal has a triangular facet in which you can see the real you. So if you've had problems expressing the real you, or even knowing who you really are, if you feel like you've been swamped by other people who kind of want to step into your boots too much, then a window crystal will work with you to find the true expression, see who you really are. Let's see the face there. And you can look into it to see those aspects of yourself that you can't always face as well, or that you found it difficult to see. So if you ever see one of those, that is a window crystal, and it helps you come to terms with your real self and your real purpose. So I've just got, I think, 3 more crystals to cover, but I'm only covering the stones that I have and that I can show you. So there are more aspects of crystal expression. I'm going to cite this book, which is, well, it's a series of 3, but I would say they are well worth acquiring if you're into crystals, crystal healing grids, crystal layouts. And this is Katrina Raphael. I would say this is the definitive book. It may cost a few quid to get the collection, but slowly invest and you'll get there, and you will have one of the best collections, one of the best books on crystals going, I think. So I've bookmarked a quote in here that I was going to read out. So we are on the threshold of a new age, the Aquarian age. The decisions that we make today will determine the heritage of our children's tomorrow. By the year 2000, this was written a while ago, the future history of Earth will be etherically written. It is the responsibility of each individual inhabiting the Earth at this time to make a decision, probably the most important choice in life. The question presented before each one of us is, are you willing to let go of past outdated belief systems, programming, concepts and ideologies that no longer serve the force of life and growth in order to embrace, incorporate and integrate the laws of love into every fibre of your being? Are you willing to live those laws courageously in every aspect of your life? If enough people have the integrity of character to totally commit and devote themselves to living and sharing more love, then our earth can reverse the destructive probability that awaits the human race if this choice is not made. And her reasoning is that quartz crystals will help to bring in that light and that love. So I have saved a few till last. So I'm going to talk about this one briefly. This is a laser point crystal. These make very good ones because, as you can see, they terminate from a broader base to a thinner tip, and as they terminate they push that energy together, which means that it shoots out of here in high intensity. It's like coming through a hose. The smaller the hole, then the more pressure is going to be shot out of the end. So these are good for cutting in crystal healings. They're good for shooting out high vibrational rays that can use to cut out dark patches, that can be used as wands to create circles. My cat is having a bit of a paddy at the door. Hang on, darling. And then the thing is, with these, be very careful where you store them. Don't store them pointing out, cutting energy into a room or towards a person, because it's not very good. You want to keep that energy controlled. I'm going to have to let my cat out. Now, laser points, often the light is getting a bit naffed around here again. So laser points often come combined with Lemurian seed crystals, and a Lemurian seed crystal has facets that are sort of striations along the length of the crystal, and these, it said, were made or put down in the earth around the time of Lemuria, and have come to light when it is time to find somebody to work with that Lemurian energy. This one is a little bit easier to see the striations, and this came from Nepal, I think, and it's a green one, and this is a Lemurian seed crystal. It's got some beautiful rutile in it, actually. I've not noticed that till now. You might not be able to pick that up on camera. Let me get it in the sunlight a bit. So you see the striations, that is a Lemurian quartz. And if we think of former beings with vaster intelligences and more harmonious societies, then this is the point, this is the idea of the Lemurian seed crystal, is that it works to bring different levels of social cohesion into our consciousness, into our world. And also, I'm not really sure, let me see, what's this crystal say? Times when there was more harmony between ourselves and the planet. This is what these bring in. And this green one brings in heart rays and healing rays. I'm moving on very quickly. I have some shaped crystals, just to say that it doesn't always matter if they're natural. A crystal sphere, crystal ball, of course, is a great tool for tuning into intuition, for scrying with. A real crystal ball is optimal, I think, for scrying, although obviously I can only afford a small one because they're quite expensive. I have a Tibetan quartz, and I love the Tibetan quartz. And this is a little Ganesh, but as you can see it's quite clear and it's quite light, so different quartz from different places bring different energies. That's a Tibetan quartz, and my Sri Yantra, that's a Tibetan quartz too. So I like these, come from the top of the world, you know, and I think they have a very clear energy. And moving on, last but not least, this is my beauty of a gift. It was gifted to me, and this is my Isis crystal. Now, Isis crystals carry an Isis or Mother Mary energy, and they are named after the 5 faces at the front there, and apparently, am I even tracing it? There they go. The more balanced those 5 faces are, the better a Isis crystal is. This one is fairly balanced, as you can see, and it rises the 5 senses into a 6 points. The points is those senses raised, those instincts raised to a higher level. Now, these are feminine energy. They're very good for comforting and healing. They're good for dealing with grief, for facing the mortality of the being. I nearly said the soul, but the soul is immortal, of course, so they heal. Now, this one is lovely, and it's got lots of rainbows in there. I can't see there. You can catch the rainbows. You may also catch a lot of the wisps within the stone, and this is why I think this one is also a bit of a Devic temple. And a Devic temple, sometimes you can glimpse within the wisps faces that appear to you, or angelic beings, or galaxies that appear to you. You may catch a glimpse of the being that resides within this stone, and if you do, it's known as a Devic temple. Rainbow crystals are very healing because they heal the heart and the soul. The idea is that a rainbow appears after a storm, so when you find rainbow inclusions in crystals, which is actually trapped water within the crystal, it's a bringer of hope. It brings hope and optimism and happiness after hard times, after dealing with the hard existence on Earth. If you stare into the rainbow in a crystal, it will brighten your mood, it will raise those aspects of life that have been a bit bearing you down, may have brought you a little bit of cloudiness to your life. Then rainbow crystals are very good for healing this. And what else can I say about this? I have glimpsed almost angelic beings in here. I photographed this on a photograph. I caught a rainbow being with wings, and it's like that sometimes things just show themselves to you. Very briefly, moving on, the best way to work with crystals is to absorb the energy in meditation. And you can sometimes zone right out into the universe when you do this, so it's very good to ground afterwards. It can take you well out there. As I said before, if you place a crystal in your passive hand, this is the receiving hand. This is how you can sense the energy a lot easier for most people. Also, you can place the dominant facet, so in this case it's the Isis facet. You place this on your third eye and just breathe in and meditate on the crystal, and that's the crystal, what its purpose is, what tool it is for you, what gift it's brought for you, and how to use it. And sometimes you will find something that's a little bit of an enigma to you. So my very last crystal is this enigmatic crystal of mine, which has a raised triangle on the face. Now, I'm trying to find out what this is, and the closest I can come to it is some kind of record keeper. Now, record keeper crystals have etched triangles on one of the sides of the faces that you can hardly see, but sometimes you turn it into the light and you will see an etched triangle on there. Now, sometimes the triangles face up and sometimes the triangles face down. Sometimes the triangles are there and sometimes they disappear entirely, and sometimes they reappear again. So I've had several crystals, I have found record keeper marks on them, and then I don't know where that crystal's gone and I can't find the one with record keeper marks on it. And apparently this happens quite a lot. They kind of appear and reappear and they're a bit elusive. And record keeper crystals are a gift to you to transmit some kind of message that a previous existence of yourself wants you to know now. It's almost like you laid this crystal down centuries ago so that you can find it now. And they transmit information about your karma, your life path, and your existence. Now, this is not a typical record keeper, but I do know that it's special. I do know that there's some reason focus on why that has this facet here. It's like a ghost of another crystal growing out of it. It's some kind of higher aspect. So if anybody does know what kind of crystal that is, then please let me know. There are other crystals that I've not mentioned. Briefly, there are time slip crystals. If I can find a good example, that's very hard to see on camera. And these have a inclusion at the base of one of the crystal faces that either leans backwards or forwards. Show me a good, easy to photograph example. La-di-la, just talk amongst yourselves for a minute. No, I can't find a easy to photograph time slip crystal. No, I didn't bring them all in. No, I can't find one. Well, I don't think we're going to get this on camera, but I'll show you anyway. So this is a transmitter crystal. It's on there at the back. It has a time slip face. And this one is a forward pointing face. It's pointing to the future. It's also working with, if it moves to the right, they're not, they're called something other than time slip crystals these days. They are called time link and activation crystals. So if it faces forward, it is time linking to the future. If it faces backwards, it's time linking to the past. Now they're called activation crystals, and this is new on me, but apparently this means that if they are facing to the right, they are working with the left side of your brain, which is your creativity, your intuition, your ability to channel. If they're facing to the left, they're working with the right side of your brain, which is your logical side, your methodical side, and your rational side of your brain. So that's another facet to look for. So go and have a look at your crystal collection. Go and see if you can locate any of these qualities that I've been talking about, and go and research a few of the qualities of quartz crystals, because there's more to them than just this is rose quartz and it's good for love. When you really look into the intelligence of crystals is in its geometry. So that's it. I think I've waffled on long enough. I hope you gained something from that. I've been wanting to play with my crystals because I'm not feeling particularly good. One of my cats has gone to the vet. She's not well. And the beauty and light and transcendence of these crystals is just the medicine I need right now. So let me know what kind of crystals you've got in the comments. If you've known any of this stuff before, maybe you recognise a few of the qualities of your own crystals. So hope you found that of some use. Thank you for listening, and I hope to speak to you all again soon. Cheers, goodbye.